Unless something dramatic happens, Congress will pass one of the largest spending bills in American history tomorrow, with money flowing to most Americans by the end of the month. Fox 13's Max Roth joins us in studio with a look at where the bill stands after another day of debate. Max.
Yeah, you know, Kelly, it was an afternoon of jumping hurdles to set the stage for the big vote tomorrow. Now, among the obstacles today, dozens of Republicans lining up to recite exactly the same motion in order to delay as long as they could. And among them was Utah Representative Burgess Owens.
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to call up H.R. 682, the Reopen the Schools Act, to get our kids out from behind the screens and back in the classroom.
A last-ditch stalling tactic before an initial vote on President Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus. If it passes tomorrow, as expected, the White House says Americans could start to receive their coronavirus stimulus payments by the end of the month.
The IRS and Bureau of the Fiscal Service are building on lessons learned from previous rounds to increase the number of households that will get electronic payments, which are substantially faster than checks.
And in America's youngest state, even more significant is the provision sending checks to well over 90% of households with children, a program injecting hundreds of millions into the state every month for at least a year and perhaps continuing.
It'll put money in people's pockets. It will cut poverty in half, cut child poverty in half.
The bill has one more stop in the House of Representatives before getting to the president. It needs to be approved with Senate changes, and in a closely divided chamber, Democrats can only lose 4 votes to pass it without Republican support.
I'm 110% confident that the votes exist to pass the American Rescue Plan.
President Biden visited a Washington, D.C. business that received Paycheck Protection Program funding. The president says he wants to make it easier for businesses with 20 or fewer employees to get a loan, especially women and minority-owned businesses.
Getting people who, in fact, weren't able to get in line before, and it's hard to know how to get in line.
The bill includes billions for schools, vaccines, and protective equipment, but Republicans say too much of it is unrelated to the pandemic, and it contains funding continuing for years.
We need to focus on making sure we have targeted relief to support small businesses, to support schools, and making sure that we're reopening up safely. We don't need to have these pet partisan projects.
So it was an initial vote going into the night back east tonight that sets the stage now for a 2-hour debate tomorrow, followed by a vote, and the bill likely to pass entirely along party lines, with every Democrat in favor, every Republican opposed. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.